The man who commands the United States Army is four-star General George Casey. He was the top commander in Iraq for 3 years, and he flew to Fort Hood today. I talked with him, along with his wife Sheila, this afternoon.
It was a kick in the gut, not only to the Fort Hood community, but to the whole Army family. And it's especially so because the suspect is one of our own, and it happened on one of our installations. And so it is a kick in the gut.
What story stood out to you?
There's a graduation going on in the next building. And one of the soldiers told me that he ran into medics who were running in their caps and gowns because they heard gunshots and they knew that there were people wounded. That's the kind of spirit here. And then it was buddies helping buddies.
What have you learned about stress from this?
Well, as I was going to say, we went and visited a group of soldiers from the 36th Engineer Brigade, and that one brigade lost 4 soldiers and had 11 wounded. And we probably talked to 25 young soldiers, men and women, who were there. And I asked them to relate their experiences, what from the day had the most significant impact on them. And they individually went around and related what happened. And you could see the stress on them. And there were some that wouldn't talk, that they passed. And, you know, and I told them, look, you're going to have to talk to somebody about this. You don't need to talk now. But we're seeing that here at Fort Hood, and we're moving large numbers of incident stress management teams here and behavioral health providers, because this is not going to be a quick fix here.
Is your Army, you have a relatively small number of troops, and they have an awful lot to do with 2 wars going on. Are they overstressed in general?
Charlie, I've been saying for a while that we are deploying at a rate that we can't sustain. So we are stretched and have been stretched for about 5 years. However, we have been increasing the size of the Army, and we're 40,000 soldiers bigger than we were just 2.5 years ago. And that has a positive impact on us.
And Mrs. Casey, I understand just before you came to talk to us, you were putting the caskets on a plane to go to Dover, those who were killed.
That's right.
Tough to do.
Very tough, but important, but really important. And it's an important ceremony. It's a moving ceremony. There were rows and rows of soldiers there to bid farewell, along with members of the community and members of the community of Fort Hood as well. And it's very important that, you know, the dignity and the respect that these, you know, soldiers and one civilian who was a retiree were shown as those caskets were put onto that C-130 to go to Dover. It's moving, it's sad, but it's very important.
And if you were at this moment talking to a group of families at Fort Hood, what would you say?
I'd say we'll get through this.
General George Casey and his wife Sheila.